Welcome to today's episode of Heard and Seen Around. I am Rajesh Karipurath. This is my take on macroeconomic and geoeconomic data points, which I find interesting. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed curating it. Cheers.
If all the nations in the world are in debt, where did all the money go? It's a good idea to save your money. One day it might be worth something again. Let us all be happy and live within our means, even if we have to borrow the money to do it with. Abbreviation, long word with, ironically, no obvious short or alternative. Zoo, a place of refuge where wild animals are protected from people.
Here's a remarkable concentrated story. Just 7 companies, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta and Tesla, now make up nearly 30% of the S&P 500. A decade ago, their share was barely in single digits. Why the dominance? The numbers explain it. Over the past decade, the Mag 7 delivered around 37% earnings growth, far ahead of the rest of the US market. But success comes with a catch. Valuations are rich, and when the leadership is this concentrated, even a small stumble in tech can shake the entire index. A quiet shift is happening in India's trade story. Services exports, IT, consulting, digital work are rapidly catching up with traditional goods exports. By January FY26, services exports have already reached about $348 billion, growing at nearly 16% annually, while goods exports have crawled along at just 1% growth in recent years. In other words, India is increasingly exporting skills and code rather than containers and cargo. And unlike commodities, services don't need ships, ports, or oil. They travel instantly across fiber optic cables. India's trade ties in the Middle East are quietly being redrawn. Trade with the UAE and Saudi Arabia is rising sharply, while Iran's share is steadily shrinking. Exports to the UAE alone have climbed to nearly $37 billion, while shipments to Saudi Arabia have almost doubled over the past few years. The reason is simple: geopolitics and policy. Trade agreements, investment flows, and fewer sanctions have made the Gulf's larger economies far easier partners for India than Iran. In global trade, diplomacy often decides where the containers go. India is now leading the world's third largest hub for billionaires, according to the Hurun Global Rich List 2026. Leading the pack is Mukesh Ambani with wealth nearing 10 lakh crores, followed by Gautam Adani, while tech, pharma and retail entrepreneurs fill out the list. But the bigger story isn't just the names, it's a pattern. India's wealth creators are emerging across energy, technology and pharmaceuticals, finance and retail, reflecting the rapid expansion of the country's corporate ecosystem. Something unusual is unfolding inside China's military. President Xi Jinping's anti-corruption purge has reached the very top ranks of the PLA, with senior generals, including figures close to the Central Military Commission, being removed or investigated. The message is clear. In China's system, the army ultimately answers to the party leadership, not the other way around. By tightening control over the military, Xi is reinforcing political loyalty inside the armed forces. For the outside world, that raises 2 possibilities. Either the leadership is cleaning house before a modernization push, or it's dealing with deeper internal fractures. Sport has quietly become one of the world's most profitable entertainment industries. At the top sits Cristiano Ronaldo, earning an astonishing $275 million in 2025, far ahead of the field. Behind him are stars like Stephen Curry, Tyson Fury, Lionel Messi and LeBron James, each crossing well over $100 million a year. What's interesting is where the money comes from. It's no longer just salaries. Endorsements, global media rights and social media influence now rival on-field earnings. In modern sport, the athlete isn't just a player, they're a global brand with a jersey number.